record so that I can upload this for those who couldn't join us this afternoon. But I imagine all of you either listening to this recording or all of you actually on the Zoom session this afternoon, we could all stand to sometimes, I think, relax a little bit more. I always think of the joke that says, I'm so used to being tense that when I'm calm, I get nervous. And our nervous systems acclimate to this being in fifth and sixth gear all the time and constantly worried about, your family or the things that are going on in the buildings, things going on at home, all the things that we juggle. It certainly has been quite the time for really, like I said, always being in fifth or sixth gear. And it's important to sometimes just remember to dial it back a notch. And I know that we talk to our patients about dialing it back a notch, and we give them some strategies and techniques for when they are maybe having anxiety issues and that type of thing. And we know that we need to help them through those difficult moments. Along that same line, I want to remind you of some things that maybe introduce a few other ideas. Give yourself 30 seconds to practice some of these things so that if you're in 10th gear right now, let's at least bring it down to 9.5 gears, dialing it back just a little bit so that you can try out different things, see what works for you, see what you don't like, you can move right on from. And remember that your nervous system might take a few times of doing something to really recognize the benefit of it. Has anybody here ever taken a yoga class? Right, in the first yoga class, all you're doing is like trying to survive and not look like a fool, right? And then maybe by the third or fourth yoga class, like, oh, this actually is kind of relaxing. I get it now. So it can take our bodies a little bit of time to catch up with what the rest of us, our brains are doing, I guess we'll say. And we know that stress hormones like epinephrine and cortisol, all that stuff kind of stays afloat when we're stressed out. And even though we know that there's like sometimes a really critical stress, like you're about to have a Zoom session with an angry family meeting or whatever it is, we've got those critical moments of stress. And then we've got that other lower level of stress, but it's chronic. And that takes its toll because then we constantly have some level of cortisol, epinephrine, and all those stress hormones floating around in our system, not really kind of helping our bodies adjust to the day-to-day stuff that we have to go through. So when we can dial it back a notch, we give our bodies kind of a pause button from some of that and really kind of help our bodies regroup from all that. And I know I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but I'm reminding you of the stuff that you know. Oftentimes, when I talk about therapy programs, when I talk about documentation stuff, it's stuff you know. It's just remembering to do it. That's what I try to bring to the forefront. So that's where we're at today. So we're going to talk about a few different strategies. Some things that I know you go through with patients, reminding you to do for yourself, would be deep breathing. And we know that deep breathing exercises are one of the easiest, quickest, no anything kind of equipment, anything necessary, that relaxation strategies that we can do. It's been scientifically proven to kind of dial back the stress level that we're going through. A wellness strategist by the name of Michelle Dauger explains that when you take a deep breath, that's going to expand your abdomen, that's going to move your diaphragm, going to put pressure and stimulus onto the vagus nerve, and that stimulation is going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, that PNS, otherwise known as that rest or digest. We know sympathetic revs us up, parasympathetic is going to help us calm down. So a deep breath, move the diaphragm, stimulate the vagal nerve, retrigger that calm down response, okay? We kind of get out of that fight or flight response and bring down those stress hormones a little bit. So it's been scientifically proven to be a really beneficial thing. When we incorporate deep breathing, sometimes just even on a regular basis, like I said, when you're about to start a Zoom session with a tense or upset family member, or you're about to go home and deal with a challenging situation on the home front, taking a deep breath really helps, because not only does it then bring on that parasympathetic response, it literally kind of helps clear your mind. It helps you calm down. And the more calm you are, the better able you are to respond to the situation that's happening at hand. So you can think more clearly. When you're all upset and you're all frazzled and fried, you're not doing your best thinking. And even though maybe going into a confrontational situation with a relative or a family member of somebody that you're treating, when we have those stress reactions, we're not necessarily thinking our best. So dialing it back, bring out our best thinking, and then we can deal with it a little bit better. And again, the more calm that we are, we know that we model calmness sometimes for our residents and patients. We can model calmness for family members, for our relatives, all that kind of stuff as well. If you can, ideally breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth is going to be the most effective. we want to get a lot more oxygen into our system. I think we sometimes, oh, like I know right now, I've got all these people on the Zoom and I appreciate your time. I want to make the best of it. So I'm a little bit geared up and I'm shallowly breathing. And I imagine the same is true for you guys too, when you're about to kind of go into a difficult situation. Shallow breath, not good oxygen, not good perfusion everywhere. Deep breath, reset everything. Remind yourself to do it for yourself, okay? Another strategy has been proven to be effective is if you breathe in for like a count of 4, hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then breathe out for a count of 8. Now that might sound like a lot of math and a lot of keeping track, but if you can exhale twice as slowly as you inhale with a pause in between, again, that's been proven to help trigger that parasympathetic response, that relaxation response. So if nothing else, if you just think, okay, I'm going to breathe in for 2, 1, 2, hold my breath and breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to trigger that relaxation response. And that can also help you, again, clear your mind, deal with things a little bit more easily. And again, I think that happens sometimes naturally when we sing. I don't know if anybody ever like sings to themselves in the car, driving home from work, you're kind of resetting from the stress of the work day. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Colton. So, reset from the stress of the work day to then dealing with what you've got on your plate for the evening with your family, crank up the tunes, sing along. But believe it or not, even if you're like listening to screamo music or whatever, you're still going to be exhaling twice as slowly as you inhale, triggering that relaxation response. It's a good thing to do for yourself. So another strategy is to do progressive muscle relaxation. Has anybody ever heard of that? Wave your hand if you've ever heard of progressive muscle relaxation. A couple of you have. So again, the daily demands of life can kind of wipe out your own ability to know when you need to give yourself a break before that stress load gets ahead of you. And all of a sudden it can kind of creep up on you. And, you're like this by the end of the day. And, if somebody asks you something simple, it's like, what do you want? Well, wait a minute, we need to dial it back a notch, but we don't always recognize it in ourselves when we're getting amped up with the day. So the progressive muscle relaxation technique, it's going to actually do 2 things. It's going to actually help you focus your mind for a few minutes, help you be fully present in the moment, present with your body, because let's face it, all day long, you guys are used to ignoring your body to some level. Got the mask, got the shield, got the gown, you're hot, it's cumbersome, and you have to put all that aside to do the job at hand. So you're kind of used to ignoring your body and the signals that it's giving you. I'm asking you to hit the pause button, pay attention to your body while we do this progressive muscle technique for just a few moments. And then, so our mind is going to hit that reset button, as well as it's going to help physically reduce tension because we're going to be deliberately releasing tension in our muscles. Okay. We know when we let go of that tension, we're going to get better blood flow. The rest of the story about better blood flow, so I'm not going to go into the details. We also get used to multitasking. Our culture seems to honor those who can multitask and do 3 or 4 or 6 things at once. And yet research is proving that really multitasking is not as effective as having a single mind focus on doing one thing. We're more accurate. We actually are more swift at the end of the day if we can focus on one thing at a time. And again, I know that that's not necessarily in our culture. But when we're going to go through this progressive muscle strategies, we're going to set multitasking aside, have a single point focus, release our muscles. So what I'm going to ask you, you can stare at the computer screen, you can close your eyes, do what you want to do, but I'm going to ask you to just tighten up your calf muscles, curl up your toes as tight as you can in your shoes, clench those calf muscles as tight as you can, and hold it for a few moments, tighten, 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 and then release it and relax it. Do you feel a difference? When you let that muscle tension go, just let it go and let the muscles unwind. And if you're driving, you may not want to do all these. That's okay. You can keep your eyes on the road. Would probably be a really good idea. A little public service announcement there. But then next, we're going to tighten up your thigh muscles, your hamstrings, your quads, tighten up your glutes, tighten up your pelvis and your hips, tighten up that whole lower abdomen area, upper thighs, tighten and hold it, hold it, hold it, and then release it and relax it. And let the muscles unwind. Notice that difference. Notice how the muscles feel when they were tensed and now how they are as they unwind and release. Let the muscles relax. And next you're going to tighten your abdomen and your back muscles. Hold it tight, 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 tight. Abdomen and back. And release and relax. Notice the difference. Let those muscles unwind. And let that tension just ease out. Let it flow away. And now you're going to tighten up your shoulders and your arms. Half of you sometimes have your shoulders up to your earlobes as it is. So tighten up your shoulders, your arms, your hands, clench your fists, tight shoulders, tight upper back, tighten, tighten, and then release and relax. Let those muscles unwind. Loosen up those muscles, right? And now if you're brave, you can tighten up your face muscles. You could turn off your video feed if you want, but scrunch up your face muscles, tighten up your neck, your scalp, your face, squeeze your eyes shut, hold it tense, tight, 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 and release and relax. Missy cheated, she went off screen. But feel the difference. Feel the difference now in your whole body. It might feel heavier, it might feel lighter, it might feel looser, it may not feel any different. But you've deliberately now felt the difference between tense muscles and looser muscles. And if you do that kind of, progressive relaxation in the privacy of your own home, wherever it might be, can really help you stay focused on your body, listen to your body for a moment, and then unwind those muscles. And if you go on the 101 YouTube videos and apps and everything about progressive muscle relaxation, we just did that kind of quick and easy. But do you feel a difference at all for those of you that played along? Feel a little difference, heavier in your body? Yeah. Again, just imagine if you were doing it, without being on a computer screen. Can be, and it can be a great way to help yourself fall asleep sometimes. If you're kind of ruminating, if you're ruminating on the day, having a hard time, oh, here you are thinking about, tomorrow, and then this family meeting, and then Mark is going to call me, and oh my gosh, and then Cindy wants me to call her, and try that. Might help you relax. Okay. So taking time to laugh. I'm also kind of making some jokes about going through this and Misty being off screen while she scrunched up her face. Because laughing, even if you're kind of faking it, forcing it, it can go a long way to diffusing tension. Okay. So looking specifically for reasons to laugh or smile, trying to see the humor in things, trying to see the irony in things. And right now, there really is a lot of it, but you just sometimes have to, it's also some pretty serious days. So we're just looking for the irony, looking for the humor in things. Laughing is going to improve the blood flow throughout your entire body. It's going to also, when you're laughing, granted, your face muscles might be scrunched up because you're laughing, but it releases tension, it releases endorphins. It's kind of good for your whole body. So again, whether you have time to watch a funny movie or a half-hour show in the evenings, there's a lot of funny posts out there, whether it's on Facebook or 101 of the apps and sites that you can go to see funny memes. I do that at the end of the day to unwind, to make myself laugh. I take screenshots of the one I really like so I can go back and look at it when I'm having a tough day, because we need to smile, we need to laugh, okay? And us doing that for ourselves, bringing that to our therapy teams when we can, bringing it to our residents when we can, just helps everybody. It diffuses that, we're sometimes so tense running through our days. When you can belly laugh, that's an awesome thing, because again, it's so healthy for our systems. But again, sometimes it's a little bit hard to do. I appreciate that. I read a study that according to Purdue University, they recommend some other ways to overcome stress. Again, laughing and progressive muscle, those kinds of things, nothing new for you guys. On the weekends, if we can, which again, for you that are running around with kids and busy family lives, taking a power nap. Power nap on the weekend is an awesome thing when you can. Taking time off. I know Tiffany took a day off last week to take care of herself. And so again, taking some downtime. Trying meditation. Meditation can calm your nerves. It helps you focus on the positives in life rather than on the negatives. There's a lot of apps out there, and I'm not advocating for one or the other, but Headspace and Inkscape, and there's a whole bunch of different apps out there for meditation techniques. I happen to personally really think that is an awesome way to clear your mind, hit the reset button or the reboot, so that when you approach the next day or you kind of get ready to go into what you're going into, you have the best resources available for you. And I can talk more about that if anybody's interested, because I do strongly believe that's a great advocate for our daily lives. Getting a massage, which, some people are comfortable with that, some not. But again, we've got knotted up muscles. Even those chair massages for 5 minutes can be awesome. I bought this crazy little thing. I'm sure you've seen it. I don't have it in here with me, but it's from Mark's, and it's like in the shape of it's got 4 prongs on it, I'll say, with a little ball at the end of each prong. So you can just like rub it on your shoulders. And I thought this is the cheesiest thing. I love it. It's out there in my living room because it just feels so good to rub that on my shoulders. So again, any way that we can do to help our muscles release and unwind, we do it for other people. We need to do it for ourselves. Okay. Healthy eating, we know, and again, I feel like I'm being a bit of a hypocrite here because sugar and carbs and caffeine are the base of my food pyramid, but we know that only really takes us so far into the day. So again, being that our bodies are pretty good to us, they get us moving through the day. Being good to our body with nutrition is important too, and we're going to have another whole session on that in the near future. Getting outside, we know that being outside is kind of helps us reset the reset button. Vitamin D, sunshine, all that good stuff. We talked about music, books on tape, stories to help us kind of be distracted from the tense things in life. Getting organized, actually cleaning up your room, clearing off a desk, organizing a corner is one of the best ways to kind of recover from stress because it's going to help you feel a little bit more in control, help you decompress, put you in a positive direction, and you can be more effective tomorrow because you can actually find whatever it is you might be looking for. Time for gratitude. One physician, Dr. Hansen, says that giving gratitude for what we have, what we can share, and you guys share so much, giving gratitude for the ability to share so much, and how we can help others is a strong stress reliever, and it can help us appreciate all the positive things that we do have in our lives, even though we certainly have challenges as well. A couple more points here. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's actually going on around us. Mindful.org has a whole host of resources about mindfulness practices. It's becoming really mainstream. I especially think with COVID and how so many organizations are seeking to give healthcare workers a little bit of a pause or refresh, whatever it might be, so that folks can not get so burned out with their careers and their professions. Last week, we talked about compassion fatigue, stress and burnout, all kind of real things. And so mindfulness is one of the ways of overcoming that. And it's gotten a lot of popularity lately. Being focused on the moment without judgment so that we can be more fully present to the situation around us. And again, like meditation, I think the more I looked at it, it's like it could be as complicated or as simple as you would choose for it to be. So, science is proving that these practices, mindfulness and meditation and prayer and exercise and proper sleep and nutrition, can all create real and positive changes in our brains. It's pretty interesting, study after study about how the brain changes for those who practice mindfulness, meditation, even prayer. And I think that there's such a menu of stuff out there that I'm encouraging each of you to try them because it's been a tough year. And my favorite quotation, which I borrowed from a speaker I was listening to, Dr. Robert Waugh, he was a former American Medical Association president, and he says the most important person we have to take care of is the one in the mirror. The most important person we have to take care of is the one in the mirror. And I like that expression. Like I said last week, I was saying we got to put oxygen on our own face first, right? So last but not least, in Arbor University CEU 360, I did ask them, it's not one that you can get CEU credits for, but it's a 3-hour like webinar, recorded webinar. So you can skip through it, you can get the handouts, but there is about how to avoid burnout for healthcare professionals is in CEU 360. They reactivated it for all of you guys. The speaker is good, the handouts are good, so whichever way you want to peruse it, become a little bit familiar with things. I did take some of this information from that. I would encourage you to do that because it's been a tough year. So with that, I want to open it up for any kind of questions, comments, any kind of sharing, networking. You guys, I like how we can see names on who's where. And we've got some therapists, we've got some FRCs, area managers, regional directors, Mark. Anybody care to share anything? Questions? You can unmute yourself, I think. That should work. Okay. I know I went through a lot of information. Again, if there's something that you'd like to know more about, I've got realms of information on all this stuff. I just am trying to narrow this down into respecting your time frames. I appreciate you logging on for the time that we have together because it's important. Again, you put that oxygen mask on your own face first. I'm encouraging you to do that. You guys know how to find me. If you've got questions, concerns, follow up with something, give me a shout out. Okay. All right.
I want to just thank everyone on the call for being here. I couldn't make it last week. I was taking some of my own personal health days last week. So I wasn't here for the first one, but as Cindy said, and I try to put it in the messages I send out on Fridays, but what you have been through the last course of the year, we've heard it over and over again. It's nothing like we'll probably ever face the rest of our lives. So please, when Cindy asked about doing this, Kathy jumped right on board and said, yeah, this is great. And so did I. Take that time to breathe. For so long, we've been the voice for our patients, their only family members, their rock. And as Cindy joked about the base of her food pyramid, we've been their base of their foundation for over the last year. So that, as much as we're in healthcare and that's kind of how we're built, we've added a lot of extra houses to our foundation. So please take the time, to find some way to decompress and relax. It only makes us better people, both in and out of work. But from the work side, I just want to thank everyone for all that you've done and continue to do for the last year. It's not been easy, and you guys have made it look easy, at least on my end of things. I know at the facility level, it's a different story, and we all face stresses. What stresses one person doesn't another. So we all have our own battles in our own separate ways. So please take the time, and appreciate what Cindy's putting together if you can. And please take the time to appreciate the work that you've done and appreciate yourselves. And I think that's the point of all of this, is that, no man or woman is an island. And so don't forget that either. So, and I'm here to talk to you if you need anything.
Okay. Absolutely, Ashley. You've got our support. Absolutely, in the chat box. All right. Absolutely. All right. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll go ahead and close this out. Again, use the strategies. Take care of yourself, guys. Appreciate everything you've been doing. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.